Hello and welcome to my first podcast. I'm your host, Max Röck, and today you are listening to 23 plus 23 equals 46. I'm here today with my partner, Stephanie Ilona. Do you want to introduce yourself in a few short sentences? You have been here before, but maybe you might have not listened to those episodes, so...
Okay, so hi guys. I'm Stephanie, so we are together 7 years, 9 months and 10 days. And we do this kind of stuff already, I think, since 6 months. And I joined the podcast, I think, around the very beginning. And we decided to do sometimes these kind of things together, just to give you a little bit of an insight from our life and maybe some good tips. And yes.
Perfect, thank you. So today, the title of the episode might not say anything to you, but we will get back onto that later. We want to talk about being grateful. Stephanie started to write an article which will come out at the same time of this episode, and I will place the link into the show notes. So if you want to listen it, please go into the show notes wherever you're listening and click onto the link and read through it. And feel free to reach out to us then to also give us feedback on the episode or on the article. So Stephanie I haven't read the article yet myself, so Stephanie said she's talking about being grateful because she was inspired from an episode I have done in the previous weeks, but also from a podcast she listens to from Lindsay Nidell, and she has been inspired to share why she's grateful in this article, and she will bring that out, and you will also be able to read that. So today we talk about being grateful, especially being grateful about things we experience as we see as bad experience, as we see with maybe as a curse even, that we have that curse on us that bad things follow us through. And one example of that is as we returned back from Germany. So we lived together 4 years in Ireland, and in the beginning of 2017 we returned to Germany, to a different area than we had been growing up, but back to Germany. So I think it was like 250 kilometers from where we grew up. And arriving there, the company which moved me over was looking for apartments, but every apartment they show us was either very, very expensive, well, those ones we actually didn't view, or I was that ugly and in very, very bad conditions that there was no way possible that we move in there. So we started looking for apartments ourselves, and I think it was even the first one or so we viewed, which we found ourselves, which we took then. And it was a beautiful apartment at the time, and after living there for a while, the first things started to happen. So the landlord was living next door, and we started to have mold on the walls, and I think back then they treated the mold, but only, I think they painted over it or something like that, so it was only for me more cosmetic. And then there was a broken pipe of the other apartment, and they moved out quite quickly, so we had a lot of difficulties with the landlord, and a lot of mold, so it was really, really hard to live in there, and it was a very, very bad experience. Maybe you want to say a few words for me about the apartment we struggled into or found ourselves at the end.
Well, as you said, it was one of the first apartments we found on ourselves, because the other ones, was not really the thing we were looking for. So we were really happy when we viewed the apartment. It seemed to be a nice area. It still is a nice area. So it was close to a golf place. It was really good for us. So we could join the golf club, and we could play sometimes there with friends. And I think it was just the way it was, let's say. I mean, it was a really bad experience for us, and we found out that it was not really the best decision to move back to Germany. But let's say after now what we went through, because the last year was really hard, I think it was even a good experience, because we found out what we really want in life, what we can move forward with. And I mean, it was more a fight, guys. I think you have the same in the other countries, that sometimes you don't understand the landlord, and then you get some issues, and then when this kind of stuff with mold comes into, then you get really angry, and then you try to find a solution. But when the other part of the side isn't helping, then it's the best you try to get out there. It hasn't ended yet, because we didn't got back our money yet, but it was an experience. So which means going back to the topic of this podcast, I am grateful, being grateful, because I mean, it doesn't mean that when we have a bad experience in life that you have to move forward with this bad experience, look back and see, okay, it was maybe like this, but we could learn, or we learned a lot of more things about it, so we handled things in another way this time, which wasn't easy, let's say, because I think we made a list, and then we found out, or we discussed the list and said, okay, we have to look in the new apartments about the mold, that there's no mold, and how is the area around, how is the landlord, how good is the part to go for shopping, for your grocery shopping, because sometimes you don't want to have all the time the car to get there. And
So at the end, you would say, even though we had a bad experience with the apartment, it was something we can be grateful for that we had it. Okay, one thing which was also on that list, and that brings me to something. Sometimes you have to break your own rules. So if you do a list, sometimes you have to break them. And one of those points was that the landlord doesn't live in the near area. So now, considering our new apartment, which you can actually see here, and maybe you can even see Honey here, the landlord doesn't really live close by, but in the same building. So that was actually one thing on our list we had to tick off. But just because of that bad experience there, we liked the apartment, and actually when we decided, or well, we didn't decide fully on the apartment, but let's say it this way, we haven't signed the new contract, but we knew we had to re-sign on the old apartment, that we can get out in time, otherwise it would be another month in between. So we actually cancelled the current apartment before we signed this apartment here, knowing that the landlord will live in the same building, but we have actually never met them, apart from we have seen her talking to the agent who showed us the apartment. So we have actually never seen them before, but we took the decision, or we took that risk because we had a good feeling doing it. All that was on our list for not being one of the points we don't want to have in the new apartment. And when we signed the contract, we met them for the first time, so we were actually waiting for them, and the agent, they knew we play golf, or we like to play golf, and they had a small putting hole or so. We were actually putting in the floor before they came in and signed the contract, and it was really nice. We chatted and we talked about it, and I think I'm not sure, someone had to leave actually. One of them had to leave to get somewhere, but if we wouldn't have had that time, I think we would have probably been sitting there and talking for like the next few hours. And they were already sharing things with us which you wouldn't expect the landlord to share with you, so more private things or experience from their lives when they were younger, and that gave us a really good feeling. And I think we signed early April or even in March. Could have been in March or end of March or so, and we could move in, which we figured out later, on the 16th of April, which is actually my sister's birthday. And from that time we couldn't actually wait any longer to move in, and we knew we had to pay the rent for the old apartment until the end of May, so we had no rush to actually get everything moving and move into the new apartment because we only had a few days overlap. But still, we felt so good with the signing and being here. I think we moved in the first weekend. I think we already slept here after 2 days or so.
On the 16th, we got the keys on the 15th. I remember.
In the evening. Yeah.
And on the 16th, we went here to start painting. That was the first thing ever we did here, and we didn't have any, I think, furniture here. I'm not sure. I think the mattress was here, and
I think we moved the mattresses over that we can actually sleep here.
And then
and honey.
We went back to pick up honey, and this was the first night, and then the days, we finished because we were not really in rush, so we had time, and it was really good. It was hard, painting everything, but it was a good feeling after, we saw what we got done. And
so one big tip and one thing we learned, if you have color left, there's apparently a best before date on. There's not a best before date, but a filling date, and I think you have 18 months or so from the filling date, but if it's open, only 3 months to actually use the paint. And the paint, I think, was like 2 years old or 1.5. And we thought, well, we have that paint left, just use it. And we started with the room, and I'm actually not sure what those things you put onto the wall. I have no idea what they're called. You put them with like glue onto the wall, whatever. I have no idea what they're called. And we had to kind of overpaint them, and we done that in the first room, and everything looked like patchy kind of. It was white on that side, but it was more like white, and I think there was a little bit gray in it, white gray, and then it looked totally weird. But we keep going and put over another layer of paint, and it looked better, but still patchy all over the place. And so at some point the paint ran out, and we went to the local store. I think it was like a warehouse store or something like that, where we could get more paint. So we got the exact same paint. We brought it back. I think we bought even a few other things, and we started painting. And all of a sudden, it literally went over once, and it was white, no patches, clear white, nothing. I'm like, that's not possible. What happens here? It's the same stuff on the wall, same pattern, everything the same. So when the other room was a little bit more dry, we went in and used that new paint, went over it, same thing. So it was actually because the color was old, and I'm not sure, air went into it. I'm not a physicist, or so we learned yesterday, why I'm not one. And so it was actually the old color we thought we can use, and saved, I don't know, 25 euros or whatever it was for the new paint. to get it done, but it annoyed us so much, and we spent so much more time than buying a new one. So if you ever color anything and you have color left where you have to paint huge areas, better buy a new one and throw the old one away. I think we have still a little bit color left. We should use for some points in here the next few months, probably not later than January, and then get also rid of that color. But if you keep it, it just will annoy you more. And that was one thing we learned. And another thing we learned, we moved I think 110 kilometers from the one apartment to the other. And if it's more than 20 minutes drive, even if you have a big car, you better rent something big. Because if you get friends to help you and you have them helping a day and you have to drive 110 kilometers, and even one day when I had a friend helping, the motorway was fully blocked, standstill, and I think it took us from, well, the drive alone was I think 3 hours or so. But then you get there, you load the car, which was probably another 1.5 hours, you bring it back, then you offload the car. Luckily we had already unassembled or disassembled all the things in the old apartment, so we only had to put it into the car. But then when we get it back, we have to assemble it again, and that also takes time. So I think on that day, for doing it like 6 or 7 hours, we get maybe one car load done. And at this time, we already figured out we need a bigger car and rented a big, I don't know, I'm sure, Sprinter or whatever. They're called those big long cars, which they also do the parcel deliveries. And if we would have used our cars, we would have probably needed to drive there for the same amount of things 6 or 7 times, and we used the same time just driving, not doing anything. And there where we saw we can save another 150 euro or so, because we have a big car, but it's actually not big enough, and it will just annoy you as well, and you leave so much time on the street rather than doing that. I think we even drove there like 6 times or so, and we saw we don't have much stuff. Drove with 2 cars, and we saw it a lot here, but then we rented a big car, and I think we had another 3 or 4 drives, and the car was full, just with a few furnitures. And yeah, that was much easier moving in Ireland when you don't move with furnitures. But that's something, it's experience at the time, which was also not that much fun, because it was a lot of work. But now I'm very grateful for having learned that, and I'm even very grateful that we rented the car at the end, and know now that if we have bigger things to move, just rent a car, and it's so much easier than having to drive there a couple of times. It just makes you tired and frustrated and doesn't help you in the long run. So that's what we learned from that. And the 23 plus 23 equals 46 is from a book I'm currently reading, or I'm also listening to as an audiobook, which is The Selfish Gene. And The Selfish Gene speaks at some point about reproducing as animals or as humans. And from the reproduction process, the male has 23 chromosomes he gives from his 46, and the female also has 23 chromosomes she gives in her eggs to the newborn, and that gives the 46 chromosomes of the newborn then, which are part of each other. And that brings us to something maybe Stephanie wants to share.
Oh God, we were thinking a while about this topic, because I wasn't sure if I'm going to share it that soon. Let's say it's not that soon anymore. But I found out on the beginning, on the 5th of June. 5th of June, I found out that I'm...
Like 3 months ago. If I would have watched you.
That I'm pregnant. And I bought 2 tests. The first one I didn't do the right way, because it was the first time for me doing this. So I was talking to a friend and she said, well, go to the pharmacy, buy a new one and do it again. So I did it again on the next day, and it was a Wednesday. This was the day when he's always coming back on Thursdays, so I did it on a Wednesday. And then I did the test, and I was reading the paper several times before doing the test. Oh my god. And then I put it in, and I think it's saying wait for 5 minutes, and then you can see the lines. When are 2 lines, you are pregnant. 1 line, it's you are not pregnant. So already after not even a minute, I got a second line, and I was thinking, what the fuck is going on now? And I remember because our cat, Honey, she was sitting in front of the bathroom and she was checking what I'm doing. So I was waiting again, went out to the bathroom, went back, checked again the paper. Is this the right thing? And then the second line went really strong. So I thought, oh no, what the fuck? That can't be. That's not possible. So I don't know. I was more like I started shaking really, and I was shocked, and then I started crying, and then I was sitting down and I thought, what I'm going to do now? I don't even know how to be a mom. All these kind of things went through my head, and I thought, oh god, I think I'm still too young, let's say. But not from the age too young, more I feel like that's not the right time, but you can't plan things in life. I mean, you can have a plan. We always plan things. Really, we have planned our next 3 years. We know already where we're gonna live next, and I thought, oh my god, this can't happen now. And I was really like, I don't know what should I do now? And normally when I have a problem or something happens, the first person you go is maybe your best friend, or in my case it's Max. It's always him. If something is going wrong, he's the first person I talk to, to get some advice how to handle it. This time it wasn't the first person because I didn't know how to tell him, and I was texting friends. I tried to call a friend. She's not living far away from here, but she was not picking up. Then I was sending her a message, said, please call me back, I have an issue. In the meantime, the other 2 friends, they were texting me, sending me voicemails and said, okay, calm down, everything is fine. Now you have to figure out what's the next step. So I think it was around 4 when my friend called back, and then I said to her, look, I did a test, and the test is positive. I have no idea what to do next. And then she said, well, Steph, congratulations. This was her answer. I was like, what the fuck? And then she asked me, did you talk to Max? I said, no, I didn't. Well, I have no idea what to tell him. And then she asked me, when is he coming back? I said, tomorrow. So you have to figure out if you want to tell him tomorrow or now. So I already knew I can't wait for tomorrow. I have to tell him now. So she said, okay, what you do now is talk to Max, call the how you call it, the doctor, the woman doctor. I have no idea how you call it in
OBGYN.
What?
OBGYN.
Okay. See, I learned something new. Then she said, yeah, you call them and explain to them. I said, but I don't even have a doctor here yet. And I called them. I said, it seems to be that I'm pregnant. I need to have an appointment. So she said, when did you do the test? I said, yeah, 30 minutes ago. Yeah, we have to wait 2 more weeks. I said, okay, 2 more weeks. Good, I got the appointment, so I think it was after 5. I was texting Max and then I said, can we talk by phone later, maybe FaceTime? And I mean, you don't expect that something happened like this. And he called me, then he was in his apartment, he already changed for the gym. And then I just started the conversation like, oh, how was your day? What are you doing the next? Then he told me he will go to the gym. And I already tried to figure out how am I going to tell him this now. So the test was still in the bathroom. I went to the bathroom picking up the test, said to him, look, honey, I think it's better you sit down. I have to tell you something. And then he said, what's going on? I don't have to sit down. Just tell me. And I said, it's better you sit down.
I think I already know at this stage what she was trying to tell me, but she didn't.
And then I started crying and was doing the test into the camera because we called each other over FaceTime. And I was like, I just cried because I didn't know how he is going to answer. What is he feeling? What is he happy? Is he annoyed? I don't know. And when it was out, I don't even felt any kind of good feeling. Really, it was like, okay, now he knows the problem. How am I going to handle this? Yeah. Maybe you want to tell what was your...
Yeah, for me, at some point when she was trying to find a way to tell me, I think I already knew what she was trying to tell me, so it wasn't that much of a surprise then anymore. And I think I always knew that at some point we're gonna have a child, and I just didn't know when it will be. And as for so many things in life, there's never really a great time or the best time. There's always just the current moment. So every time is a good time, as you probably have heard many times before. When is the best time to plant a tree? The best time would have been 20 years ago, and the second best time is right now. So 20 years ago wouldn't have been the best time for us to have a child, because we would still be one. But I think you know what I'm trying to tell you with that. So being at shock in the beginning, I think it's a really amazing gift, and I'm already looking forward to hold our child in our hands. But in my hands first, and ours. You get what I mean.
Yeah.
Bad words, but I thought the right way. So that's the big news we wanted to share. And coming back to the bad experience with the apartment we moved out, which brought us to exactly this apartment here. When we moved in, I think even the first weekend or so, our landlords took us to local. So it's a wine town. There are like wineries everywhere. I think there's like, what did they say? So there are around 50 families which do wine producing for living. And I think that one we live in might even be the biggest in this small town. And so they brought us to those small wine festivals, or where they just have a wagon put up and they sell wine there, local wines. And they brought us there, and when they were introducing us to other people from the town, they actually never said that we are the attendants. they always said that we are their housemates, and that's how it also felt. Like weeks after week, they brought us to those events, and it was more like an extended family than it was something else. And a few weeks ago, I shared an episode, about the birthday of one of our housemates when he turned 71, and when we told them that we are pregnant, or she's pregnant, I lose weight, she gains, doesn't matter which, you know what I mean. That for them it wasn't really a big surprise, some odd reason. They're kind of as they were waiting for it or so. Never mind that. On that party also there, he got all his phone calls that people were congratulating for his birthday, and I don't think there was one phone call where he didn't tell that the house is actually having a baby. So he was actually more happy and proud of that we are having a child than we were in the beginning. So from living in a apartment, we had issues with the landlord every day. We are now living with kind of an extended family, and something we will enjoy seeing our child growing up in as well. So that's what I have learned from that experience coming through in the last probably 6 months or so. I'm not sure if there's anything you want to add additionally.
You said everything.
Perfect. So make sure that from every bad experience you look forward to the good, because there will always be the good coming around. It's just a phase preparing to you for something bigger to happen, and always keep that in mind, that as soon as you overcome it, there's something else coming, and someone is looking out for you to make sure that you're prepared for the one big thing or the multiple big things coming next. That's it for today. Thank you for listening, and until next time. 1, 2, 3.